Hello everyone, it's Short Round back with another video for you. This time it's a bit of an anniversary special really. It's actually the 32nd year anniversary of Transformers the movie releasing in the States. Came out a little bit later over in the UK, about 2 or 3 months later in the December of the same year. But on August 8th, 1986, this bad boy hit theatres in America. And to be honest, it stands the test of time, 32 years on, as far as I'm concerned, as most Disney films from that era. It's absolutely awesome. The soundtrack's amazing, the animation's amazing. It's ultimate boy movie. It's the kind of thing that does, if you're into Transformers, it sticks with you for the rest of your life, and this is really precious to me. This is my original movie poster that I managed to get. But it isn't the actual film that we're reviewing today. It's actually just a little bit of nostalgia and also a little bit more kind of a modern take on that nostalgia as well. So just whip this out of the way. And it is actually a review of the Deformation 3 DF03 Builder D by Destroy Force. It's from a company called Jinbao. As you probably know, if you're looking at this, it's actually a KO of a third-party figure. The original third-party figure was by a company called Generation Toys, and they made it was called Gravity Builder. Obviously, the Jinbao have got a hold of it. They're quite a reputable company in China. They've made a KO of it, but actually they've altered certain bits and they've also oversized it. So this is a much bigger version than that original Gravity Builder figure. I think it was supposed to be about 1.5 times bigger or 1.3 times bigger. The figures themselves stand a little bit taller, and subsequently, when he's complete, Devastator is going to be significantly taller than the initial Gravity Builder version. Box art's really nice. This is part 1, so you'll get the first 2 figures of the setting, and they'll be the arms. So you'll get, basically, in this case, you get Scavenger, and you also get Bone Crusher as well. I'm not really sure, I can't remember what they're actually called in there. They've got some kind of weird non-copyrighted names, as you can imagine. But this is the box they come in. It's actually pretty big. Bigger than most Hot Toys boxes, about as deep as them to be honest on average, but certainly bigger. But as soon as I picked this up from the post office, I was like, wow, okay, I was expecting these to be quite small, but no, they're really not. And as you'll see, the components that they turn into, as much as we haven't got the finished release of the Devastator yet, it's going to be enormous when he finally comes out. So like I say, this is the first 2, so you get the 2 arms in the first package. The artwork's lovely across the front of the box, as you can see. I'm pretty sure that given the fact that these figures are KOs, that this artwork isn't original either, but it's really nice nonetheless. As you're rotating around, you've got the same artwork echoed across. You've got a little bit Bone Crusher on that side, then you spin it around, and you've got Scavenger on that side. Spinning it around further, you've got a artist rendition. Again, I'm pretty sure this isn't an official artwork, but it's of what Devastator does look like. And then you've got little interpretations, little stills of each one of the figures. So you've got the actual robot mode, and the vehicle mode, and then the arm or whatever component it is, depending on which box you've got. So these guys are the 2 arms, like I said before. The box, really reasonably strong quality cardboard. Nothing really too much to complain about. Like I said, the artwork's nice and vibrant. You could stick it on a shelf and essentially display it if you wanted to. It doesn't come in a big boring box or anything cheap and flimsy. The clam tray inside isn't the strongest plastic in the world, but it does the job. So it's not terrible as such. Let's move that out the way. And so when you open it up, you actually get your 2 figures. So here we got our Scavenger. Just gonna jump down now, just a little bit lower, so you can see these guys. So this is Scavenger, and then also in the box you'll have your Bone Crusher. So they're really, really nice. Like I said, they're very blocky and very boxy as well. They also come with their own individual blaster, so they're all slightly different designs for reasons that you'll see when it comes to transforming them, because they store inside the actual vehicle modes. And also with each figure you also get a little cab trailer with rubber wheels, which is really, really nice. So they're all boxed up. They're all boxed, like I say, in robot mode, as you can see here. There's a couple of bits and pieces that need to kind of switch around and change just to make them a little bit more accurate. Like the flaps on the bottom of the feet need unfolding. And to be honest, it's personal preference, but Bone Crusher's shoulders come like that, and I personally like with the scoops facing forward, just because it gives him a bit more of a kind of more imposing profile, which makes him bright, like kind of wider. I've always really liked Bone Crusher. The weird one was actually Scavenger. He's always been my least favourite constructicon, and he's actually my favourite figure out of the pair, just because he looks really evil. His face is quite nasty looking, and he's really poseable compared to his pal in the box as well. I have got the kind of second box out of the 3 as well, which I'll do another review of next, and that features the leg components. We're just waiting on the torso pieces to get released. I mean, naturally we've seen what they look like because Gravity Builder's out. He's a thing, you can buy him, but in terms of getting the upscale versions, which Jinbao have done, we've not got them yet. So unfortunately we're not going to see the finished Devastator yet, but I will transform them into their arm components as well, so we can have a look at it and see what we can expect when he finally comes out. So first things first, we'll have a look at Scavenger. So it comes with his little blaster. It does pop in half for transformation, and it just slots into his hand there, and his fingers just wrap around it. The sculpting detail's not bad. There is a little bit of flash just on these figures, just because again they're a third-party KO. They're not terribly expensive, and as a result, you know, the quality is a little bit lacking in the actual finishing of it. The plastic itself is really strong. It's really tough and durable, because they have done a 1-to-1 scale KO of the Gravity Builder as well by a company called NBK, and that plastic is really cheap and flimsy. I mean, the price point, it reflects it. These guys are about £40–50 per pair, and then obviously you pay your postage or whatever, but the NBK ones are about 50–60 quid for the whole Devastator. So them being scaled down and the cheaper plastic, it's personal preference really. If you've got the money to throw at a Gravity Builder and you want to buy a genuine one, go for it by all means. If you want you know, something bigger and a bit more imposing, which is what I've gone for, get the Jinbao guys. And if you're on a budget, you know, you're not too fussed and you just want a Devastator, or to be honest, you could even give it your kids because they're cheap and cheery, get the MBK one. And you know, what kid doesn't love diggers and robots and all combined together? So you know, it's quite good. So we've got that there. We've got his little cab as well. These are mirrored, so you've got a left and a right for obvious reasons when you pop it open. And inside you'll see there's some little plastic rockets in there. Like I said before, the wheels are rubber, so they're really nice and tough. The plastic quality is decent, it's not flimsy. You've got your combiner peg there with a really good strong twist and a really strong hefty ratchet. There's even some rocket booster detail on there because you can fit it onto these guys to turn it into a jetpack. It looks a bit rubbish, but it's there. So that's a nice strong ratchet joint. And then you've got the big Devastator fist that opens out. You close your box up, and there you go. And you've got all jointed fingers. So each finger has kind of 3 points of articulation. 2 in the actual finger itself, and 1 is a ball joint where it actually meets the palm of the hand. Same with the thumb, which is again really, really big and imposing. You know, if you put a human hand next to it, it's pretty damn big. And also the back of the hand lifts up, and he's got a couple of little rockets there that unfold out there as well, which is quite nice. I don't know if the original kind of generation toy version did have it, but it's really nice. Like I said, it's quite sturdy. The joints are really nice and tight. The fingers are strong. You know, you're not really at a fear of anything being too fragile, which was a bit of a worry. Like I say, the MBK one is really, really cheap. These things are prone to snapping on it, and it's quite nice to see that in this, it's really, really tough and durable. So, and even the little bits of paintwork, the metal, the stickering that's on there to make that hazard stripe, it's very nice. You know, bear in mind that this is going to be predominantly used when he's in Devastator mode, and let's be honest, you're not going to be looking at his wrists, are you? You're going to be looking at this massive green and purple robot in front of you. So Bone Crusher comes with exactly the same one, but obviously left and right separate, so slightly different hands. However, in the actual hands themselves, you can just swap them between, so it's completely up to you which side you want each Decepticon to be on. So we've got Scavenger here. He's got some really nice detail in his face, like I mentioned before. He's got really sinister. If you look in there, he has got light piping in there, but he does struggle with the fact that if we just move his head, there you go, you can see just as the light catches it. He does struggle just with that massive scoop arm behind his noggin there. It struggles to get in to actually catch the light, which is a bit of a shame. The scoop itself is on a ratchet, so you can turn it left and right, and it's on actual ratcheted joints in the actual scoop itself, and quite a tight little joint on the shovel end as well, so really, really tough. I like that a lot. Like I say, I just love how it folds up and just hangs there. I also love how you know, non-symmetrical it is, given the fact that he's got his massive truck cab on his shoulder here, and then just a little box for his other shoulder. He's got a swivel joint on his head. He can look around. He's got no issues there moving his head around. He can do a full 360, no problems at all. The arms are on a quite a stiff little joint here. It rotates on a ratchet, but then it lifts up and down on a joint here. It's actually it's quite integral to the transformation, this up and down motion as well. He's got a bit of bicep swivel and a ratcheted elbow. Not the kind of clickiest, clackiest ratchet, but a ratcheted elbow nonetheless. And he's also got a hand that opens there. It doesn't rotate. I don't believe it does anyway, I've not tried to. Oh, it does, there you go. Yeah, it does rotate, I've just not tried to. And then his fingers are moulded, so they're not posable in the sense that they're individual digits, and his thumb's moulded, but it's designed so that you can just pop his gun into his fingers and close his gun around it. It'll let me do this, I'm just behind the camera, it's quite annoying. There we go, so you can just close his fingers around his weapon, and it holds it pretty sturdily. You can shake him about a bit and it doesn't risk falling out. So just take that out for the moment. Moving down, we've got some rotation, which is on a ratchet at his chest, which really again is more predominant for his actual vehicle transformation. And then he's got some waist swivel on a big hefty ratchet as well, which is really, really good. The legs tab in here at the crotch because this is part of how he transforms, you know, they splay out and wrap around his body. But they are on a really strong ratcheted kind of ball joint as well, so really, really impressed with that. Love how strong that is. That's tough. He's not going to just flop over because he's quite top heavy with this. He has got a bit of leg swivel there. You can actually rotate this around and close these up if you wanted to. This blocks this off, so he can't rotate his leg. However, you can still do the knee there, which is a really good knee bend. It just depends how you want to display him, if you want more tank treads showing down his legs, or if you wanted them to be a bit more exposed. Coming down to his feet, he has got a little joint there, which this kind of locks off and covers it up a bit, and his feet are bendable as well. So he's got some toe wiggle there. This isn't bendable at all because it pins in and holds it in place. However, the way that these rotate, you can actually rotate them around and do like a full loop in a circle as it goes around there. So he's got some good movement to pose him, and he does hold up really nice and sturdy. So you can pose him really well. They've got a lot of good options in terms of how you want to stick him, and like I say, there's no risk of him really falling over just because he's really strong on those feet. Bone Crusher here, he's heavier definitely because he's bulkier. The body of him is a lot boxier. Don't let these fool you because these are quite light and flimsy, but the actual body itself is a lot heftier than Tall Scavenger. He's got the same full 360 head movement. His arms are on a similar kind of situation, so up and down motion and ratcheted rotation there. He's got the same arms again as Scavenger, so they rotate and they're on a ratchet on the actual up and down itself. This piece here moves freely on this piston, so you can pose them however you want, like shoulder pads or whatever, and it moves up and down on this piston. And then same again, his hands do rotate and open and close with those moulded fists. Moving up to the torso here, he's got, again, similar to Scavenger, rotating chest. He has got an ab crunch because it's part of his transformation, and he's also got a hip swivel too. Moving down to the legs, they are identical pretty much as Scavengers, except that they've got these little rocket pieces here. So you can rotate his leg with a bit of limited success because of this in the way, but there's a cheat if you hang on a second. Full knee bend, again, I'm pretty sure that the whole leg is just a cast of the same, because the feet and everything are basically the same. Like I say, it's just this, that's the different bit. And what you can do is you can actually rotate this down, pose your leg however you want, and rotate it back. Alternatively, if you wanted to, you could have this kind of moving around and do what you want with it. If you were that way inclined, you could leave it back. You can pop these bits down and it just hides some of those rockets if you wanted to. By pushing that in, it forces the rockets forward, you see. But that's an option. Like I say, the rest of the joints, the crotch, the legs are all identical to Scavenger. What I'll do now is I'll quickly transform them into their separate vehicle modes and we can have a look at them, and then after that we'll get onto the really fun part of turning them into their composite Devastator bits as well. Back in a second. So we're back and we've got them transformed. Now they're a little bit simple in some aspects and a little bit fiddly in other aspects. Basically, kind of short speaking, it's essentially the same problem that a lot of third-party figures get, where there's a lot of complex transformations in there, a lot of fiddly bits, coupled with some really nice simple bits that are really fun to transform. Especially really enjoyed it on this guy where you kind of form the cab like it does here. All in all, really, really nice. They do suffer from the problems at times from being a KO, where they're not, like I say, the most perfect moulding. There's a little bit of flash here and there, like you get just a little bit on this top of this scoop here that you can see that's just going to need a little bit of filing down. Bits and just jagged edges, that little bits, but not terribly bad, and certainly not enough to dissuade me from continuing to collect the set. First we'll have a look at Scrapper here, and Scavenger rather. He's got, like I say, the same piston mechanic as his scoop as before. There's a little bit of a kind of waist ab piece that just sticks out. So it's a little bit ugly, but not enough to kind of deter you from it because it's quite symmetrical with this scoop. The tracks, I've got little wheels on them, so you've got a nice roll effect. And all this closes off. My only complaint with Scavenger is the fact that you can see his head just sticking out the back, and there's no plate or anything to cover that up, so it just kind of just glares at you, and it does the same when we're in arm mode as well. As you notice from the back of him as well, he has got this massive gaping hole here. This is part obviously to where this little piece comes in and tabs in and forms part of his arm. His weapon, if we just grab it here, separates into two, and then if you look on the side of it, there's a little tab where it just clicks in and folds up. You can pop it in there like that, and then what you do is you get the underside of Scavenger, just move those feet out of the way, and you'll see that there's just a hole there, and that there just tabs in, and what you can do is you can rock the feet back on their little kind of rotatey swivel hinges that you've got, and it just closes it up some more, nice and kind of tightly. And then what you can also do is, if you want to, just move those feet out of the way again and just grab the arm piece, pop it on there. Just want to rotate it around before I do anything else. Pop it onto the thing and twist, and what it does is it locks in to the back of him and creates, let's just tighten those up there, just wrap it around, and it creates a trailer. So it fills out the back piece, and it also just makes him a bigger truck. I'm not mad keen on it on him because I just think it makes him look too long. I think the treads do enough to make it look like a believable scoop truck. But this is a nice way of storing it and transporting the limb piece on the robot mode and vehicle mode, sorry. So you can have it there like that. So we just pop him out of the way. Next up, we've got Bone Crusher. He's a bit of the same and a bit more different, so the legs transform exactly the same as Scavenger, as you can imagine, because they're the same mould, albeit the little rocket piece that goes on the side. Just moving the camera there. This is the piece when it's unfolded, and what it does is it actually tabs into the scoop to give it some stability. It's got a couple of posable exhausts and things on him. He's quite big, like I say, he's denser, he's a lot heftier than Scavenger is, but Bone Crusher was always kind of the big, kind of heavy, earth-movie kind of bulldozer type. So yeah, he's really strong, and it reflects it in the figure. It's nice, however, though, that they've kept them the similar scale and everything like the original G1 version, so you can actually have these guys as arms that look like they're in scale with each other. The cabs are really nice on both. They do have some kind of trans clear plastic showing through there. The bit that glares out on Bone Crusher, unfortunately, is these arm pegs, these grey pegs here. I would have really liked it if they were coloured in green, just to match the rest of the vehicle mode when they flipped around. But he doesn't have the problem that Scavenger does, where he doesn't have a big hollow exposed back. So you can see his peg there for the wrist joint to connect, and as before, same on Scavenger, there's a hole there, and his weapon transforms rather than disconnects. It actually unpegs at the top here, rotates the grip there, and you bend it around and it basically just folds it up. Spin him around, find that little hole in there that's nicely exposed. This one's a bit more of a pain to get to because it's quite deep, so you just have to move those feet out the way and find where it lives. And there you go, it's tabbed in. And then these feet then, same as before, you can rotate them back to close the whole ensemble off. You can grab your arm, and with a bit of jiggery-pokery again, because these feet tend to get in the way, grab your arm piece, rotate it around, and there you go. So you've got that on the back of him. Again, it doesn't look too believable because it looks like a bulldozer with a big black box on the little trailer on the back of it, but it does afford you some kind of display option for it when it's in a vehicle mode. They are really, really nice. Like I said, they're absolutely massive, so if you put my hand next to one, I've not got terribly big hands anyway, I'm not a big fella, but they do definitely have a big surface area. If you were kind of to compare them, they're definitely bigger than your average Voyager scale figure. If you can compare them to your standard Transformers figure, you're definitely bigger than your standard Voyager scale figure. Again, these are the small guys because these are the arms, so you know when you get to things like Long Haul and Hook, which form the body, they're going to be massive. I have got the leg pieces, so Mixmaster and Scrapper, I've got those, but I'll do those in a separate review. But the body pieces aren't even out yet, so I'll quickly get these transformed into their limb modes, and then we'll have some thoughts about that. Back in a second. So, seconds later, I've got them transformed into their arm modes. I say seconds later because they're an absolute doddle to switch to this kind of version, because essentially, especially Bone Crusher here, he's literally just a case of you flip his little exhaust pipe on his hood down there and you get your fist out, and that is basically it. He's basically a massive bulldozer with a robot hand sticking out of the back bit. But that's how the original Devastator was. Again, it's massive. It's probably from fingertip to scoop, you're talking about 13 inches long, so it's a big figure. And so he's going to be scaling massively when it comes to forming Devastator. Scavenger is slightly different. Again, you fold his hand out the back of him, but what you actually do is you rotate this whole cab ensemble here. You actually rotate it around, and then you rotate the scoop around on itself again to close that hole up in the back now. So it just becomes a bit more chunky, and if we just kind of pan out a bit, you can see again, it's just how the arm sits. I like that, how it closes it off and makes a proper shoulder. And if you get them side by side, they scale nicely. They look like they've got proper shoulder thing going on. I say a proper shoulder thing. It's as much of a shoulder as you can get for having a bulldozer and a digger for an arm. Like I said before, the arm has got a little bit of wiggle room there. Proper ratchet at elbow, full wrist swivel and everything. So when you've got your Devastator, this actually rotates on the elbow here as well, so you don't actually unpeg it from the you don't need to unpeg it from the actual body of the truck itself, so it stays in there nice and firm, and you can actually have a proper elbow joint on him when you've got your Devastator all formed up. Again, if the feet just kind of hold the weapon, kind of so it's tight, and then underneath here is your combiner peg. And this is a really tough ratchet. If you can hear it, really hard work to shift that. So again, when he's transformed, he's not going to have any kind of loose limbs or anything. Bone Crusher's the same. It folds up under here, and it is a really tight ratchet. You're fighting with it almost to kind of get it to bend. So it's not, like I say, he's not going to have like floppy limb syndrome or anything. He's going to hold firm when he's in that kind of combined Devastator mode. Overall, I'm really impressed with these. I'm pretty sure that the last set, so set number 3, is out next month. So in the next couple of days, I'll get the video for the second box, which will be the feet up. And then obviously as soon as the torso bots come out, then we'll have the finished Jinbao, you know, oversized gravity builder, if you want to call him that, or just, you know, the biggest Devastator that you've ever seen. And so it's going to be really fun to finally see him done. So I'll get the other guys kind of sorted out and reviewed in the next couple of days. So look forward to that. Obviously, if you want to, be sure to subscribe, and that way you'll be able to be notified when those videos go up. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to go watch Transformers the movie now because, you know, anniversary, and it's also, you know, any excuse to watch it again and again. So I'm going to go watch that, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.